Hello and welcome to an episode of Atomic Vinyl Reviews. My name's Jacob and today I've got another unboxing video for you guys. So I got this lovely package from Japan and I think I have a pretty good idea of what's in here. So let's get started. Just gonna get rid of this outer layer of paper first. It's very nicely packaged, which is always good to see. Should pull off. There we go. Got a box inside here, and inside this one is where we got the real package. So I'll just slice through all this tape and see what's inside. Ooh. Open this up. We got a little note on the front here. Camera's a bit overexposed, but there you go. You can see that. Just a little thank you for your purchase kind of a thing. Oh, and they sent a little tiny paper crane. I love this. When you get packages from Japan, sometimes they send these. Whoops. Little paper cranes, which is just adorable. Look at that. So I have had a lot of these in the past before. I'm not really sure where I put them because, you know, they're just little bits of paper. It's easy to misplace and stuff. But that's really cute. I dig that. Now, to the figures themselves. So we actually got both Godzilla and Kong done in these figures, which is great because in previous years we've only really got Godzilla done in this line of figures. So just tip this. Hopefully both boxes should come out. There we go. So they're both just kind of wrapped up together, but they're two separate boxes. I think they did have some minor damage to the actual boxes, which the seller did disclose, which is all good. So we'll get to check them in a second. But I don't really care too much about the boxes. It's about the figures on the inside. And speaking of which, I don't have it on hand with me today, but I do have the SEGA Godzilla King of the Monsters Godzilla, which I am almost certain is actually going to be the exact same sculpt and mold as this figure here. So we'll kind of have a look at this thing and I'll let you guys know whether I think it's the same one or not, because again I don't have it on hand, but from memory and from photos it's looked pretty similar. But when I actually do get the other one on hand, the reason I don't have it is because I moved places a little while ago and I didn't bring over all my figures. So that I will have photos of on the Atomic Vinyl Reviews Instagram page when I do actually compare the two. So do be sure to check out that. I'll have links to that in the description of the video below because I'm actually really active recently on that Atomic Vinyl Reviews Instagram. And it's been really fun just doing really nice shots of all my figures and stuff and putting them up there. And I think it's going pretty well. So definitely check that out if you want some better visuals of a lot of the figures and Godzilla and Gamera and Kong related stuff that we take a look at on the channel here. Anyhows, we got Kong here in this little box, still kind of wrapped up separately, so they did a great job, which I'm really happy to see, of wrapping this stuff up. Everything's individually wrapped and then wrapped together and more bubble wrap and then wrapped in boxes and then, yeah, very good. There's our Kong. The box for him, looking really nice. Now we'll just take a look at the Godzilla one. Godzilla one is noticeably heavier because Godzilla is he's a chunky boy. So that's to be expected. But the thing about these figures that I really like is detail-wise, at least the recent ones, the Shin Godzilla one was kind of crap, but the recent ones like the King of the Monsters one, or the anime one, so that was Monster Planet. Those ones actually had really nice detailing to them, and they're nice solid feeling figures. So I'm keen to see these out of the box. So already, again, this one here, just based on what I'm seeing on the box here, looks really similar to the Godzilla that we got for Godzilla King of the Monsters. So I think they just, again, like I said, reused the same mold, but they did add a base to him. So that is really cool. He actually comes with a nice detailed base. So does Kong, as you can see here. And I'm really excited about this Kong because from what I've seen in photos, this one looks really good and really actually one of the better Kong figures from at least what I've seen just in photos for this movie. Because even like the Monster Arts one, which I really love, it's not perfectly accurate. It's not perfect. It's not 100% there. You got the Playmates figures, of course, which are a bit when it comes to details. I mean, they're children's toys, so it is what it is. But the boxes are actually not anywhere near as damaged as I expected they'd be, so that's all good. I guess there's a bit of mild crinkling to them, but yeah, that's all good. So they didn't even have to warn me about that, because it's just kind of really minor stuff when it comes to a figure like this. It's not really a Monster Arts or anything super special, so don't have to be too fussy. I'm just gonna break the tape on this one, break the tape on both of them. I'm not sure which one should we open first. Let's go with Godzilla, well, because we can kind of get through Godzilla quicker. Just because if he is the exact same as the previous Godzilla, you can always take a look at my full review of the Godzilla King of the Monsters or 2019 SEGA figure, which I might have put in the end card at the end of this video if I remember to actually edit that in, or you'll just find it on my channel. So, when we open this thing up, this is what we get. So we unfold this, got some plastic wrap, some bubble wrap and all sorts of stuff, and got lots of little pieces. So here's Godzilla's tail in 2 segments. Very nice. Very nice. And we got, oh, this is actually quite a big plastic base. This is bigger than I expected. Like I saw it in photos, and I didn't know these figures aren't super big. They're a little bit smaller than your typical 6-inch scale figure. But this one's still kind of big looking. Really nice. So let's open this up first. I'm excited to see this because this is new, even if the figure is the same as the previous one. And look at that. It's got this really sort of broken earth kind of design on here. It's just done in jet black plastic. Has some legal information on it here. See that they're kind of SEGA, made in China, 2021, Legendary Pictures, Monsterverse, Toho, all that good stuff. So far, that is looking pretty cool. I wish they, put some dry brushing or anything on top of this base, but really they didn't have to even give us this base, so I'm not even going to complain. That's just a nice little bonus. Now we can get the actual figure out of here. So I don't know why, but these SEGA figures, they usually have this kind of like triangle bit of cardboard in here just to hold everything in there. I guess it stops it rattling a bit more. But then we can just pull out our Godzilla. He was placed in there nice and snugly. And he's just wrapped in some thin bubble wrap. Undo this. And there we go. And yeah, that looks pretty spot on with the 2019 sculpt in my humble opinion. The reason I can kind of verify that is because he's in this really low down crouching pose, which I always found really weird, because this figure is actually really comparable in size to, say, like in the NECA, the Monster Arts figure. They're almost the same scale, but this guy's shorter just because he's crouching down quite a bit. So this is that same pose. It's really weird looking. That's my only real major complaint with this particular sculpt from the last one, and from the last review I did of the 2019 version. Already though, I can see that I think the detailing on him might be a little bit more mushy, I guess, since they are reusing the mold quite a bit. But there's some weird stuff going on, like if we take a close look at him, look at his claws here on his foot here. These are like really rounded off, whereas these ones are properly done nice and sharp on this foot here. So I guess this one has some, yeah, that's not looking right. I guess that was an error, a little bit of a manufacturing error. But detail-wise, not bad looking. Really nice. Very similar to, again, the NECA version of this guy. And a nice solid plastic. So this guy feels nice and chunky, really cool. And again, just the only thing that I don't really like about him, aside from that error there, is kind of the weird pose. But the other thing about him being in this like weird crouch down pose is it really reminds me of that scene where Godzilla and Kong are on the aircraft carrier in the middle of the ocean. He kind of does crouch down like this during that scene in some moments, so it is really reminiscent of that moment. So it's a shame that these two figures didn't come with a bit of a aircraft carrier deck style base, because that would have actually been really cool to have them together like that. But instead we get this really sort of more naturalistic broken earth base, which is, it's cool, it's fine. I actually really dig it. So I'm guessing he just plops on somehow. He's got these pegs in his feet, so he should plop on pretty easily into these. Yep, there he goes. Just like so. Standing on that, so he doesn't have his tail yet. Let me actually open those up, we'll assemble him. And we've got his two segments of his tail here. And they should go together just like so. That goes in there. This full tail. And this should peg in here. I probably should have done this before sticking him on the base, but it's still gonna work. Don't worry, guys. Just shove it in. Goes in quite tightly. But eventually it does push in, and yeah, look at that. Really neat. I find this pose kind of weird. It looks like he needs to pee or something. He's just gonna crouch and like, ugh. But as far as figures go, real nice. Really cool little display piece. But he's only gonna be complete once we get him with Kong. And yeah, like I said, really excited to see this Kong. So I've already broken all the little bits of tape on the top of the box, and we can just gently ease him out. I'm not too fussed about bending the lid on this box again, but I do want to keep this somewhat uncrumpled if I can. But there we go. And just like before, we got some cardboard on the inside here, which opens up to reveal all our goodies inside. So here is our figure, our Kong. Again, wrapped up in bubble wrap. I'll take a good look at him in a second, but let's see what else he comes with, because he should have, yes, 2 bits of axe. So he's got his tool, his axe, which is really cool, and it looks like you can probably have him without it as well, seeing as it's, here in separate pieces. That's nice. And again, we have this base. I think this is probably going to be identical to the Godzilla base. Maybe the footprints will be a little different the way you stand them in, but kind of looks like it's, yeah, it looks like it's pretty much identical. Am I right? Am I wrong? Yeah, they look pretty much identical, don't they? That is nice. Okay. As long as they work. But the cool thing is you can actually stand them next to each other like this. They have this nice curved little line here, and they kind of join up really neatly. So that's really great. Or you can have them, facing front on like this. So there's a bunch of little posing opportunities with these, which is really cool. But getting to our Kong himself, I can get rid of the box now. Get to the figure. Bring him real close. Tear that open. And you guys will be the first to get a good look at him. There he is. There is our SEGA Kong 2021 figure. Nice. So already I'm liking the kind of rough, fluffy texture of him. It feels really cool to the touch. He's all solid. Nice, heavy feeling little figure. And look at that. It actually looks pretty damn similar to the version of Kong we got from the film here. Really cool. Hopefully you can get a good look at his face there. He's got his little fang poking up there. Very serious expression to him. He's got his scarring across the chest there. You can see all that rough detailing across him. Ah, very cool. Actually, I'll bring in really quickly since we got him up close. This is the Monster Arts version of him. So he's got his roaring face on here, but you can kind of get a good sense of the scaling between these two figures, because this guy is a lot shorter, but actually he's got a much broader looking shoulders, or almost the same width, but he's shorter, so that's kind of interesting. A good little sense between these two. Okay. Let's see how this guy plugs onto his base and how he compares to Godzilla. We've got his little base, and just like Godzilla, he plugs in the 2 little peg holes here. He's got one on his feet, and there we go. Now we have a fabulous standing ape on this really barren looking rocky crumbled ground. This actually reminds me a lot of the ground that he was standing on when he was inside the Hollow Earth, inside that like Kong temple. So that's kind of a good little substitute for that, although if you recall in the film, Godzilla was never actually down there, so having him on this ground doesn't kind of make sense with Kong if that's what you want to do. Nonetheless, really cool little display of the two figures. Look at that. Yeah. They do scale up pretty nicely together. In fact, actually Kong might be a little short, come to think of it, because he was quite tall near Godzilla, and now they're both kind of crouched. You can see Kong has quite a wide stance here, and Godzilla is sort of awkwardly crouched. But it does kind of look like, I kind of remember Kong being almost slightly bigger in the film. It's kind of hard to tell. They really scaled him up a little bit too much in my opinion, but nonetheless, if we're going for film accuracy, yeah, I guess that's pretty much accurate. It looks really good nonetheless, these two together, so that's really, really cool. So, like I brought in earlier, the Monster Arts figure, we can also bring the Monster Arts Godzilla. So this is the 2021 Godzilla vs. Kong figure, which is again the same mold as the 2019 version. And you can see Monster Arts does look quite big next to the SEGA here, but a lot of it is down just to that pose. I will be honest. That pose does make this figure look a lot smaller than he necessarily is, because he's really chunky. So overall, I'm liking these figures. I think my kind of main issue with these so far has just been, I don't know, what they did with Godzilla's claws here on this one foot. I think that is just a manufacturing error, so you'll have to see a couple of other people's reviews and we'd see if like that's consistent or if that's just something that happened on this one figure. I'm curious. I'm really happy about this Kong. He does look really, really cool. Again, detail-wise, pretty good for what he is. Don't expect like absolutely, Monster Arts crisp details on these things, but compared to some other stuff out there, especially like the Playmate stuff or whatnot, these are definitely really, really high-end in those terms. Actually, I forgot to put Kong's axe together, I just realized. So he does come with a little slot in his hand where we can put his axe. It comes in two pieces, so I guess the main reason it comes in two pieces is so he can slot it in to that little hole in his clenched fist there. So there's that hole. There's like a little nub on this piece here, and that's probably gonna slide in. How do I show you this? Into that little hollow area between his fingertips here. So that'll go in like so, there. And around the front here, this would probably just slot in here. Gotta find the right angle, I think, because this actually has a keyhole shape. So it's not like a little round shape where it can go in any way. Actually, no, I figured it out, guys. So I did get his axe to go in, but there is actually, if I pull it apart again, in the palm of his hand, so let me get the focus correct. In the palm of his hand, you see that little notch in there? That's where this notch actually has to go into, and that way he'll be holding his axe a little bit more correctly. So that just slides in just so. And then we get his axe, and that should go like this with the blade facing downwards a little bit better, and this bit can be a little fiddly. There's his axe. So very, very cool. Check it out. So again, just got a bit of blue dry brushing on the top just to emulate a bit of that glow that this axe gave off, especially when it was charged up. So that's really cool. Nice brown coloration to this. Kong's really got just one color to him, just this sort of brownish tone, but it works. It's pretty accurate to how he was in the film, and just fairly decent paintwork on his face, and that scar across his chest is the only really thing he's got, but done pretty damn well. So, overall, I think these are really, really cool. Personally, I wish we did get a new sculpt with this Godzilla, and that damage there does kind of bother me. I think the previous 2019 version came out better because again it didn't have that, and I felt the detailing was a bit more crisp. but you know, it's still for what it is and for the prices that you can get it at some pretty alright prices. It's a really decent version of this Godzilla in figure form. And this Kong, yeah, I'm really digging this one. This is one of the better Kongs out there from this film, especially in this price range. So yeah, these Sega figures, really, really good, really solid releases. So I recommend them. So just before I close off this video, I kind of want to do just like a mini tiny showcase of some other figures that I got, because I don't think I'll be doing full videos on these anytime soon. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. We'll see how I feel about it later on. But I got some more Playmates figures. So I got these collectible figures, which is really, really interesting because for a long time now we've seen these individually packaged and sold through places like AliExpress and just anywhere that sells from China as little bootleg figures. But now we actually have the original set of these figures. And these are really cool. These are just tiny little mini figures, about the size of your typical Gashapon style figure. But they're of the MonsterVerse Kaiju. Now personally, I think detail and sculpt-wise, not really the best. I think these were actually a bit overpriced for what they were, at least here in Australia. They cost like $19 for this pack, which, given the quality of these things, could have been better. But, you know, it's a Playmates release. It's kind of, you know, what do you expect from Playmates? But nonetheless, it's really cool. We finally got a Behemoth figure from just an official Behemoth figure, which is really great, because I do have a Behemoth YMSF figure, and there's like a couple of people doing their own custom figures of this guy, but I think that's a really cool just kaiju that does show up in the MonsterVerse, which I really want to see more of, and I'm glad there's a figure of it. And of course we've got like the Warbat here, and I forget which one's the Warbat. There's this weird snake thing, and this bat thing, and a skull crawler, and that's all cool from the MonsterVerse, as well as Godzilla and Kong. So that's all awesome. They definitely could have put more kaiju in here, like what are they? You know, all the ones from Godzilla King of the Monsters that showed up on screen just for like a second, along with Behemoth. So they could have chucked in a few more of those, but regardless, I think it's a good little set. So that's really fun. I've been getting a few more of these Playmates assorted Godzilla and Kong figures. What I'm really waiting for is I'm waiting for Gorosaurus and Rodan, the 56 versions, to show up in Australia. They have not, at least in my local area, they haven't yet. But in the meantime, I got some new ones. I got Arctic Kong, so it's basically just the Kong sculpt, but covered in some white sprinkles to emulate snow. So this is pretty cool. And then we got the Hong Kong Battle Godzilla, so he's got like purple highlights and clear plastic and all that cool stuff. So yeah, these weren't really, I don't think, good enough to warrant their own videos as of yet, but I just wanted to show them off to you guys. And again, do check out the Atomic Vinyl Reviews Instagram page, because I've really been enjoying putting up a lot of content on there, and a lot of this stuff will be showing up there in much better quality than I can get with my current video setup here visually. So yeah, that's just kind of supplementary to all these reviews and stuff, and often I'm just posting stuff that's not really, I'm not doing videos about currently, but I kind of want to just show off to you guys anyway. So yeah, that is it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching till the end. I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you in one of my future videos. But until then, may all your vinyl be rated in vinyl. Over and out.